Hello again, everyone. Thanks for coming back. I've got some interesting things to talk about today. Now, we've talked about the conjunction that's coming on the 21st of December. We've got the eclipse that's happening tomorrow. That's in South America, on the very bottom tip that goes over. And it actually, I've noticed it starts on the west coast of Africa, not quite overland, but just out to sea. So I guess they'll see it on the west coast of Africa. And it's going to go across the southern Atlantic. And it's going to cross over the bottom of South America and then back out into the Pacific Ocean. It'll be quite a spectacle. I've noticed that the news media, when they talk about this eclipse, they keep mentioning the word corona, corona, corona. Because what you're going to see is around the eclipse, what happens when the moon covers the sun. It doesn't quite cover everything. It's kind of like it's a perfect sized circle that covers the sun, but leaves out they call it the ring, the wedding ring, or the corona. So yeah, I've heard them saying that name a lot about the eclipse. Now, usually after an eclipse like that, we see a lot of devastation, natural devastation. Now, the pagan world will say how beautiful it is, and it means something to them in such a different way, but they're not seeing that it's going to bring destruction. And we know that our God, He created the heavens and the earth, so they belong to Him, and they are His. So I wouldn't want to be a pagan. Anyway, so yeah, you've got that exciting eclipse happening tomorrow. Keep an eye out for that. There's plenty of websites that'll show you a live tracking of that if you want to watch it. Next thing I'll talk about, now we talked about rapture dreams last video, and how I wasn't completely on board with the people who post continuously, day after day after day, of their rapture dream, rapture dream, rapture dream, and oh, I'm talking to the Lord, you've got to listen to me, you've got to listen to me. Anyway, so talking about that, there's also the other side of the dreams and the visions. Now, I don't know if any of you have heard of sleep paralysis, which I've experienced myself, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But there was a big thing in the alien community, people who they're fully on board with aliens. They, you could tell them that there's a base on the sun, and they'd believe you. Anyway, I don't want to make fun of them too much, but many of them in that field have talked about alien abduction and experiences with aliens where they do all kinds of nasty things to you. Now, I know exactly what it is, though. I believe I know exactly what it is, and it's not aliens. It's something much worse. Now, people have claimed to have been, they get paralyzed, they get taken away, they get taken to a different place, interdimensionally, and they have things done to them, and they're never the same ever again. Now, if you're a believer in Christ, all you have to do, if you're having an experience, anything like that, is call out the name of Christ, and they will release you so quickly. They will be so disappointed, they will run for the hills. Now let me tell you a quick little experience I had. I don't want to be here too long and bore you, but here's an experience I had when I was really repenting and getting into the Lord, and I want to know the deeper meanings of Scripture, and I was very, very hungry for knowledge. And I was at a stage where I was thinking, I've got Christ now, I'm fine. Boy, was I wrong. I fell asleep I'd had a big day, and I fell asleep around 7:30 at night on my couch. And I was watching the television, and I just wanted to roll away from the television to face away from the television. And I must have been drifting off for about 2 minutes. I wasn't even properly asleep yet. And then I felt, it was a very real feeling. I felt a nuzzling on my ear. It was very real. I felt it. And it was nuzzling on my ear. And I thought it was my partner. And I was kind of giggling, thinking that she was getting, a bit frisky. So what happened next is I went to turn around. Guess what? I couldn't move. I felt like I was paralyzed. And the more I tried to move, the more something was gripping me. But on the corner of my eye, I could see a big dark mass, and it was hovering over me. And I tried the hardest I've ever tried to wake up. I could not get up, and it was a very, very terrifying experience. But because I was a new Christian, I felt like this thing was attracted to me. As soon as I called out to the name Christ, it was like this thing, it got up and it ran out of the room. And then I could move again. And I tell you what, my partner didn't believe me. She thought I was absolutely insane. She thought I'd gone nuts and I needed help. But I swore to her. I said, no, this thing was real. This thing had me. So anyway, talking about aliens, so look what Trump's talking about now. Space federations of light. Who comes as an angel of light? Who appears as an angel of light but is not a good thing? Satan. So it seems to me like the elite of this world are ruled by the second heaven. What's in the second heaven gets cast to the earth. The fallen angels. So I believe most of the cultures throughout history, throughout time, have been worshipping the second heaven. Until Jesus Christ came along, of course. Oh, still, even after Jesus Christ came along, they were still worshipping the second heaven. They still are right now. So that's what I want to talk about that, is aliens. And all of a sudden, if there is going to be an escape, and lots of people do disappear off the earth, don't you think they're going to have some sort of spaceships or alien looking things, interdimensional beings that will fit the bill? And then they can say, oh, the aliens took them. Possibility. Oh, look, these aliens, and the Pope will be there, blessing them, saying how wonderful they are. It's just a thought. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but like that, but thought. So keep an eye out for that. He's talking a lot about that at the moment. And just when they said Federation of Light, red flags. So Anyway, so that's a nasty experience you can experience, an attack as a Christian. It's not the first time it happened to me. It did happen a few times after that, but hopefully they're leaving me alone now because they know that there's no point harassing me, because they're not going to get anywhere with me. Next thing, we've got trusting God. Now, do you trust God to feed and clothe you? Really? Do you really trust that? Or are you panicking because you're running out of money? The big lesson I learnt was to trust. Faith and trust go hand in hand. Trusting your Father. It's like not trusting your own father that you love. Worse. I'll tell you about another experience I had with music. I was looking up Christian music, and to be honest, there's not much Christian music out there I do like all the Hillsong stuff and there's such good music out there. And is it really all just reserved for rock and roll and it's all the devil's music? I don't believe so. I find God in a lot of artists who aren't professing Christians. I find God in their messages. I find their messages of pain, and it's the same as mine. If you say you have a perfect peace right now, I think you might be lying, because you have faith and you have trust, but you still look at some things and you go, wow, that's terrifying, especially when you have children. And another an experience I had with the music, I found an old song by Tchaikovsky. It's called The Hymn of the Cherubim. Now, I started listening, and I realized how seriously Tchaikovsky took God and Christ. He was very serious. He understood how holy God was. This song, I ended up closing my eyes, and it was like the whole room was buzzing with a presence, and I was hovering off the ground, and I could see the face of Christ on the cross, and blood was dripping from the tip of his nose, and the feeling was he was letting me know how much passion he had for me. It was like he was telling me without speaking, saying, you have to know how much I love you. Look at me. Look at the pain I'm in. I love you so much. I'm doing this for you. And it wasn't like he was telling me off. It was just so real. Such a real... So listen to that, The Hymn of the Cherubim by Tchaikovsky. Close your eyes and tell me if you feel anything. I'll be surprised if you don't. And sometimes listening to the hellfire sermons by some preachers, it does steal your joy and your peace a little. And then I'll listen to a song by an artist who's not preaching hellfire. I hear God in it. I hear God in that song. And it's quite something. Also, back to the Eclipse. Another interesting thing is I looked at the time it's going to start. 1333. Now, 13 is the number of rebellion, and 33 is something that the occult have adopted. Maybe it's saying the rebellion of the occult is coming to an end, shall be darkened, the eclipse. So many ways you could think about that. That's all I'm doing. I'm just a little bit speculating, a little bit wandering, because God's always saying, I'll show you a mystery, because we don't know everything. We just don't. Not one person out there knows everything about everything. I mean, look at Ministry Revealed. He's not looking at the stars too much. Yet he's got so much. He's got like 8/10, but he's missing out the 2/10. They're just as important. Okay, I don't want to go on too long. Now, if you ever had a broken heart, you look around at the world, you see children getting hurt, and it just breaks your heart. I get to the point where I can't watch certain reports. I just don't want to. I don't want to watch it. It's just torture. But you have to understand that that's how Jesus feels. At times, a million. A broken heart. I mean, he wept over Jerusalem. Did he not? Because he knew what was coming. He knew the ignorance. So, there's a few things I like to talk about. So, keep an eye on the eclipse. We got the conjunction coming. Very special. And just don't fall into the trap that because a sign happens in the heavens, like it did in September 2017, that something's immediately going to happen. Things do happen after them, but it's never like, because there was a lot of people when that was going to come, they were saying, this is the rapture. This is definitely it. And they were getting everyone excited. And they were being hypocrites because they were saying at the same time, oh, but I'm not saying it is, but I am saying it is. And I can see how it led to confusion and doubt afterwards, making people just want to give up. So I hope you found something to think about in the subject matter we discussed. You got Trump up there too. That's another one. You got Trump up there saying how great he is, that he's going to rapidly get the vaccine out. I don't see how his supporters don't see that as an absolute betrayal. He was supposed to be fighting for them, but everyone's masked up. Everyone's gonna have to get the JAB. It's already happening in England, Britain. Can't go into shopping malls. Got to have a certificate. Wunderbar. The rest of the world's going to follow, yeah? So that's how they take down the world, is take down the biggest countries first, and once you take care of that, they just pick off the rest of them, don't they? Anyway, so let's stay strong. Encourage one another. As some of you have in the comments, thank you very much. Do appreciate all the comments and the subscribers. Hopefully we have some more beautiful dreams. I'll tell you about one more dream before I go. One more dream. It was a very quick, some dreams are very quick. And I was in a place, I didn't know where I was, but I was floating over it. And it was the most beautiful city. It was like so beautifully constructed, like divinely constructed. It was just beyond words. And I woke up and I realized it felt like I had seen a glimpse of heaven. It really did. Anyway, guys, I love talking to you guys. So I'll keep them coming, and I'll bring up anything of interest that's fascinating and something to think about, thought provoking. But I hope to see you all soon. Don't worry if your family thinks you're crazy. We're all in the same boat, arc. And let's just keep on keeping on, and we're soldiers, remember? So let's march on. I'll talk soon, guys. God bless. And take care of yourself.